So this is something I think we're going to keep seeing more and more of in the future, and that's government fines over data breaches. Now, this one has a little bit of a twist to it because right away people facepalm and go, yeah, the company had bad security, they didn't do this right. Well, kind of, but I want to be very clear on how this happened as much as we know about it. So the U.S. energy firm was fined $2.7 million. Now, they took the name out and they omitted it, but that's not really the relevant to me of this article anyways. What's really relevant is how the hack occurred, or not really a hack. It's just a data breach that didn't turn into a hack that we know of, but the records for people's personal data was exposed. That's the key in this that caused the fine. So the fine occurred, and the incident, which has been assigned a risk rating of serious, involved a third-party contractor to improperly copy data from the energy firm-owned network. Despite receiving training, the contractor failed to comply with the company's information protection program. And I want to read a little bit more into that. So here is the actual public notice from NERC, the North American Electronic Reliability Corporation, who fined the power company that's name is undisclosed. And here is the deep in there, and I'll leave links to this. URE received a report of an online data exposure with the possibility associated with URE. The report came from a white hat security researcher not associated with URE. URE is the name they gave the company to keep them anonymous. A third-party URE contractor exceeded authorized actions by improperly copying certain UAE data from URE's network environment to the contractor's network environment, where it was no longer subject to URE's visibility or controls. The contractor failed to comply with URE's information protection program on which it was trained. While the data on the contractor's networks, a subset of live URE data was accessible online without the need to enter user ID and password. And it goes on to what was included in the data. But what I want to be very clear, this is the twist, so to speak, of why this matters a lot. This is a regulatory organization that realizes that it was not that company's fault. It was the contractor's fault. But please note who paid the fine. The fine was paid by the power company. Now, this is something we're going to see a lot of. So you really have to think about your contractors that you bring into your company. And I know some places, like locally here, the hospitals have moved to zero contractors. They only use internal staff. And I think we're going to see some trends like this where companies, maybe as the fines roll out, get more careful about who they hire, because they can't just say, well, the contractor did it. Because the Energy Commission here, the public company that fined them, absolutely noted that it was caused by a contractor. Please note who's not being fined, the contractor. I'm sure there's other legal ramifications going there, but if they just hired some inexpensive database guy who copied it to his home server, whatever, we don't know the details of what happened. I don't know that that's what happened, but I want to think about that. If that type of incident occurs, you as the business owner are responsible ultimately. And I think this is something that's being made very clear over and over again, and we're going to see a lot more incidents like this. So you are responsible for the contractors you choose. If those contractors screw up and accidentally do something bad with your data, even though you told them, hey, don't take this out of our network, they take it out of the network, you're responsible. This drives me nuts because I see so many companies look for the lowest, cheapest thing they can use for software. I see a lot of IT companies that don't really think a lot about that. They just like, oh, let's use this tool or that tool because I get a better deal on it. But ultimately, you as the business owner, you really have to think about that. That is a big issue. And we're seeing this. There's been some hospitals that have had incidents as well. And the same thing, the hospital pays the fine even though the contractor did it. Like I said, you can go after them but if you hired some inexpensive database guy, do they have the, wherewithal to know how to handle things properly? Will you be able to extract any money out of them? Are they a big enough firm that you could then take the $2.7 million fine, levy legal action against them, going, hey, you're the one that screwed up? And they go, great, take my 1996 Toyota that I drove here in. Can they even cover it? I don't know. But that's just something, the big picture that I want people to really take home and think about is the contractors you hire are you're ultimately responsible for. This has always been clear in other markets. If you're a home builder and you hire a really bad plumber, the homeowner doesn't chase the plumber, they chase you if you were the general contractor for doing it. That's why general contractors vet and care a lot about their reputation because they hire the right people. That's, granted, there's always incidents, but that's how the other businesses work. This is the same way, but it's also a different scale because people look at technology differently. They go, I just need this little thing fixed. Can I just hire this guy I found on something, some place to contract work? You're giving him access to all your critical data. And this worries me too, because some IT companies outsource to third-party help desks. And that means you're letting a third-party help desk remote into your computer. What if that guy says, you know what, I can make my money? I can take all the stuff on your computer and copy it. That scares me a lot when people say, why aren't you using overseas help desk? I'm like, because we keep it all internal. So I have some, control over these things. So anyways, that's just some food for thought and my thoughts on this topic. But I want people to think a little bit deeper about it and make sure you hire contractors who can follow processes and you don't have to worry about it. And they're not just, screwing up and not following all this and get you fined $2.7 million. Thanks. If you like the content here, like and subscribe. If you have some thoughts on this, leave them in the comments.